You ever wonder what makes a great gamer? Great gaming is not only about cheering on our teammates, but also being there to pick us up when we're down.
Guardian down!
We're a Destiny 2 podcast that focuses on three things: community, news around the gaming industry and Destiny 2, and thought-provoking topics in the game. We're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny.
What's up, Guardian? Welcome to episode 271 of Guardian Downcast, a Destiny podcast. I'm your co-host for today, SweatySpookz, and I'm a Guardian who has spent far too much time in Trials and still love Destiny, the franchise. We're the podcast that's all about your stories, your community, your destiny. And in this live episode, Todd has the great pleasure of having someone take over his intro script, and we all agree that we won't tell Laz, right? I've been a part of the GDC community for over 4 years now, with the guest appearances on Gator's Crucible episodes of Destiny Help Desk podcast, which is a teaching podcast for new and returning players. So check out those episodes, and I will have the links for you in the show notes. If you want to hear my episodes on Guardian Downcast, check out episode 71, Appreciate You, and episode 145, Dick Pics. So enough about me. Why don't you say I return the show back to... Todd! Good sir! No! Get away from... Don't hit me! I didn't find my way into your office. We don't need to tell Laz about... Fine! I'll get out of your office. So cranky. Go have a Werther's.
Give me that. Young kids. Get off my office chair. Oh, God. Jeez. Oh, man, I tell you. Well, quick note here. If you didn't make the live show tonight, and you want to watch this mess of a show that happened at the beginning, just go back 20 minutes ago, you can watch it, the playback on my YouTube channel. It's Todd the Gator, 2 Ds and GATR. The link will be down in the show notes down below as well. Well, on this episode, we're going to first catch up and hear what's been going on in Sweaty's life and his gaming. We'll then discuss Destiny 2 Frontiers and the latest update article that arrived this week. We have a lot to talk about in This Week in Destiny blog, and how fitting that it mentions some big changes coming to the Crucible and beyond, and the new dungeon race coming in the next couple of weeks. We'll add some music to our Guardian Downcast show playlist, and we'll be addressing any questions or comments in the live chat tonight. So, if we're ready. Oh, wait a minute. Sweaty, you also said you wanted to do a speed run tonight?
That's what the pigeon carrier had said. It brought this little note, and it was tied to its foot, and it came from Laz's office because it had the little clipping on the wing. So, Laz, loud and clear, we got the tag. The order has been undertaken, and I think what Gator's trying to say is we're going to do a speed run.
Yes, we'll do a speed run before we leave tonight in the live chat. Why not? We'll do one.
Hell yeah.
All right, well, if everybody's ready, let's roll.
Hey, thanks for listening to Guardian Downcast. There are several ways you can contact us. First, you can find us on X at Guardian Downcast. Or you can find us on our Instagram at Guardian Downcast and see what pics and reels Todd the Gator and his podcast guests want to share with you guys. We have a brand new website too. Just visit guardiandowncast.com, where you can find all of our contact info, leave us a voicemail, give our show a rating or review, search for any past episodes, or even give back to our community. Also, don't forget to sign up for future updates to the show, where we'll also have random drawings throughout the year, and you may win a gift card or even some GDC merch. And finally, you can send us an email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Our community thrives on interaction, so get involved and check us out. And later, Guardian.
I want to catch up and just talk with my friend here, SweatySpookz. Catch us up, man. I know it's been a while since I've talked to you. What's been going on, man?
More of the same, just maintaining, really. But, I mean, there's a couple of different things. With it coming to the end of the summer months, at least in the northern hemisphere of things. Summer's coming to a close. Kids are going back to school. things are starting to cool down. The leaves are beginning to change color, going from green to fancy reds, purples, orange. A whole bunch of different fall colors are starting to kind of come out. And it's nice because it's been pretty warm. And I know you know this, Mr. Florida Man. But being surrounded by the ocean or living on, an island, we deal with a lot of humidity in the summer. So what is, I don't know, I got to do some translation here. Let's say what feels like 80 Fahrenheit of dry heat feels like 10 degrees hotter because of the humidity. Your clothes stick to you and all that fun stuff. So I haven't been really too active over the summer just because it's been hot and there's been other things going on. Been supporting my wife as she goes through the loss of a family member. So we've been navigating through that. Just life stuff, man. That's all it is. I guess the most exciting thing as of recently is being able to get back into a routine, being able to get back into jiu-jitsu and start working off this beer belly that I've earned around a couple of the barbecues over the summer. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
it happens, man.
Keep that between us, Gator. I
won't tell anybody, man. I won't tell anybody. Okay. Don't worry about it.
This is a safe place, right?
Yeah, it's a very safe place. It's a very safe place. Okay. That's for sure.
No lawsuits to worry about, or
I don't even think. No, Laz is too busy golfing right now. I don't think that'll be an issue for sure. I don't think that'll be a problem. Okay. But yeah, it's speaking of weather. Category 4 Hurricane Helene hit about 150 miles north of where I live in the Orlando area yesterday. In fact, I tell you what, though, even though that storm the center was 150 miles away. We had 70 mile an hour winds. We had hurricane force winds like all day and all night. And, it was nuts, man. I mean, we tried to take the dogs for a walk and I'm looking at the oak trees. They're just twisting around. I'm like, man, just any time an oak tree can just say F this and just break right off in someone's house. In fact, I always take the dogs out really late at night before I go to bed around 1:30 and I heard a damn chainsaw going. So apparently either a tree fell across the street or it fell on someone's house, and which is always a problem because our whole neighborhood, it's all oak trees. If you were to take a satellite picture of my neighborhood, you barely see the houses. It's all oak trees. So we're surrounded by 30, 50-year-old oak trees, and they're just enormous in weight. And if any of them ever fell on our house, it just would not be good. Would not be good. That's always my biggest fear with hurricanes. It's not structural damage. It's the trees. So, we have to be on top of, trimming them up and making sure that if a tree is not healthy, we got to get it out of there. And these trees, man, I had an oak tree in my backyard that was about 100 feet high, about 30-year-old oak tree. It got a virus and just became a stick of firewood. I mean, it was literally a bare piece of wood within weeks. And we had to take down our fence. The guys had to go in our backyard and use a crane and actually crane the thing in piece by piece out of my backyard. It was not fun and was not cheap. So I'm hoping I don't have to ever go that route again. But what have you been doing in gaming this week, man? You've been, I know you probably, like a lot of us, have taken a break from Destiny. You've been trying some other games out and stuff. What have you been up to, man?
Yeah, man. Played a little bit of Destiny, just enough to, get through my 3 comp matches and get my rose drops and get out of there. But, been playing a few different things. Me and Raider have been, I guess, hanging out a lot with the Space Mafia guys, doing a lot of D&D themed stuff. But that's thanks to Elmer Fudd. He was gracious enough to have us on his stream for our first ever D&D match. For those who aren't familiar with the term D&D, that just stands for Dungeons and Dragons. Traditionally a tabletop game that we can play digitally with our friends now because of computers and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I saw you stream that too. Yeah, look good.
Yeah. So, that was a great time. I've been playing this other game called Nightingale, and it's very different than anything. Well, I shouldn't say that because I guess I feel the same way playing Nightingale as I did when I first played Skyrim. It's very exciting. But Nightingale is its own right. It is a survival game, which is why I'm a little baffled. Because traditionally speaking, I'm not really attracted to survival games at all. Recalling old feelings of playing other survival games is just annoyed because there's a lot of maintenance involved. Not this game. It's got a good progression system, great story, great thick lore, and a loot system. It's very fun. The loot chase feels similar to what I feel whenever I'm chasing loot in Destiny. And then it has all of its other benefits as well. Just, I don't know, it's different. Now, the cool thing is you travel through these portals and they'll take you to a place called realms. When you start the game, you go through a series of what's called storied realms. So they are static made realms to kind of give a sense of structure and familiarity and a shared experience amongst the player base. However, as you go through the game, the longer you spend in those realms, the more the resources you're going to use, like the wood, the ore that you get from mining. So you're going to need to farm somewhere else. They came up with a secondary realm, and this secondary realm is procedurally generated similarly to No Man's Sky. So in No Man's Sky, whenever you're exploring, those spaces you're exploring are procedurally generated, and it cuts development time and helps with the developers, but also to generate more areas, more experiences, and places to explore as you go along in the game. So just a couple of different things. There's different types of biomes within the different realms. Mm-hmm. So you always get a different environment, different materials, different buffs to what you get. If it's just different experiences all around. Similar game loop. But yeah, I don't know. I've just been really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to diving a little more into the lore. Haven't gotten there yet just because I'm not in a comfortable spot in that game yet. Like, I still want to get stronger gear and feel like I can not be squishy. But yeah, so that's one game.
Nightingale. Okay.
Yeah, I think the sale just ended, but it was on for 40% off, and it's early access. It's not even version 1.0 yet.
Okay.
I've easily already sunk over 40 hours into the game, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much stuff to do the game.
It's good to keep you busy when not playing Destiny, though. I feel all of us as Destiny players, we all need to have like that second game that we just dive into and enjoy and not have to worry about what's going on in Destiny, you know? I just think we all need to have that second game, and I'm working on that part for sure. What else you been doing, man?
Well, a lot of us at the BBL, Blueberry Lounge, we've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate together, again, coming back to the D&D experience, but getting back into jiu-jitsu, a routine, and that, so I can start losing some weight and, just take care of myself. That's all.
Yeah, I've been
Ronin Red Lion. I checked out those podcasts you sent me, Ronin.
Nice.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. I also sent you a couple your way, just in case you didn't see the message. You hear it here first.
Hey, he had a question for you, by the way. Let me just read it here. He said, question for Sweaty. What is one of the best lessons you've learned so far in your jiu-jitsu journey? Funnest technique or most surprising observation? Figured it might as well ask why you mentioned his name. Yeah,
definitely. So there's a couple of different answers you could come from here. It could just be a rolling perspective. It could just be a technical perspective. It could just be being present perspective. To dabble into a little bit of it all without going too far into it. I find the biggest challenge, certainly after getting comfortable all summer, I'll say, not even really melting, but anyways, the hardest part is always going back. And it's not because you don't want to, it's just because you're tired. And, but the best rewards come from, I guess, seeking challenge within your, I don't know how to word this. More or less, if you don't go seeking challenge on your own, there's less reward and less lessons learned that are going to be applicable to everyday life. So there's that aspect of things. Going back, my first challenge is to show up and go to class. Of course, there's going to be weeks that I can't because, being a parent and things like that, and that's fine. But I'm making a long-term commitment.
Sure.
Start of the year. I just had my birthday. I turned 32.
Happy birthday, man. That's all right. We shouted it out in the Discord.
Yeah. So more or less just like everything lined up. Peyton went back to school. My birthday was around and getting back into a routine. I was like, let's do this, diving right back in. Now,
Nice.
to the source of his question that I know he's actually asking, what have I found interesting in jiu-jitsu that I've learned in class so far?
Right.
I actually learned this from my dad, and I'm refining it in class. So my dad teaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I live about an hour away from my dad. So I go to a gym that's local to me. I could walk to where I train. But I still make a trip every once in a while to go train with my dad because they train differently. He has a different perspective, and he's got a lot of high belts in his gym, which is good because I don't have that in my gym. We're mostly all white belts.
Right.
Which just means like every battle is a battle for your life. Whereas when I'm training with him with the higher up belts, they're conserving energy. They're not really fighting much. They're moving slowly and just holding positions. They're not even attacking you. So whenever they're doing that, they're very good to explain things if I need a moment to just be like, what's happening? But my favorite thing that I've learned so far is something called a stack pass.
Stack pass.
So, Gator, if you and I are trading partners, let's say you're laying on the ground on your back and you're in guard position. Not only are you in guard position, but you're set up for a triangle, which means you have one leg on the right around my neck, and that's just the one leg that's thrown up. Basically, what I'm going to do is start walking forward to bring your waist closer to your head. I'm trying to touch your nose to your knee.
Right.
So I'm folding you, more or less. And a lot of the time what I like to do is just keep them there. If they try shoulder walking backwards, I'll grab onto their belt and I'll pull them back in, and I'll just let your own belly squish you until you're like ready to tap out, and then
there's so many cool moves in jiu-jitsu. My son was showing me a few of them.
Cooker.
We took a video one time of us sparring, and it was not even close. That kid really is good. You should see him spar on the bag at the gym when we go work out at the gym. He's got some really good kicks, solid punches, and I mean the kid weighs like 150 pounds. I mean he's on his game. He's on his game, that's for sure. But I actually worked on my legend title this week in Destiny 2. I've been running around Skywatch trying to get my Ingrams to drop for the Triumph. I think I'm at 60% now. Right. I played some Iron Banner on Monday nights with the community. I had a really good time doing that.
We did too, yeah.
Yeah, we match made. Actually, we had 8 of us. I think it was 8 of us playing, and we broke into 2 teams of 4, and we actually matched each other. We both make sure we're on California servers, and we actually matched each other. I think Fluffy and Bell were actually stopped by too. And
nice.
This is Priceless Cloud, Moonshine. I think Deadpool 1 Merc was there. Bunch of the guys that hang out usually on Thursday nights or I usually play on Mondays after my bowling league, and it's usually late into the night. So we did that. I actually played on PC lobbies all night, and I actually thought it'd be an issue, but I had a good time. I had a good time playing on PC, and I thought maybe the PC crowd was a little too small, but we didn't have any issues. So that was fun. Yep. I also got the second prestige reward track with Lord Saladin. I got the latest shader, which I'm not crazy about it, but you know me, man, I got to get all my shaders. So I got that.
Yep.
I've been working on my new video series. I just released it this week on my YouTube channel. So check those 5 out.
Crucible series.
Yeah, my Crucible series. I just released those. It's 5 videos. They're all tied together into 5 different lessons, and you go from one lesson to another and another and another. It just kind of builds. It starts out with some basics and then keeps building on little iterations of the Crucible that maybe not everybody knows about. But, us that have played Crucible for a while, this is pretty much secondhand knowledge. But a lot of people haven't played and don't want to play or don't know where to start. And that's why I made the videos. So if you haven't checked those out, they're on my channel right now. Been getting some good feedback so far. In my effort to play more games, I also purchased Warhammer Space Marines 2. And I have to say it looks promising. I know I didn't get past the title screen, but I've decided in October, I told my wife this too, so there was some accountability. I'm setting aside one night a week that I'm actually going to play a new game. and I'm going to play it for 3 hours. It's my usual 3 hours. And then at 1 a.m., I usually watch a show and then go to bed. So I'm probably going to do that. I've already decided I'm going to do that starting next week. I also saw Sony's State of Play, their live stream. I'm kind of more of a shooter guy, but I did see some really beautiful games that are coming out. Ghost of Yotai, I guess, the remastered Horizon Zero Dawn, which I actually played on my PS4 long, long ago. There's a new one called Arcade Chronicles. It looked really good. It was an RPG game that's coming out in 2025. The new Dragon Age Veilguard. It looked good.
Yep.
That arrives the end of October, I should say.
Yep. I know that.
You gonna play it?
Forward to that. And Russell.
You gonna play
might, yeah. I mean, I have Game Pass at the minute.
Yeah.
If it's on Game Pass, I'll play it.
I hear you, brother. I hear you, man. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be a day one on Game Pass or not. I really don't know. One game that gave me a lot of nostalgia, and I actually might be picking this up. They're coming out with a remastered game, Dynasty Warriors Origins. It's for the PS5, though. It might be time to hack and slash through ancient China once more. I had so much fun doing that back in my PS3 and PS4 days. An interesting game.
Take a look at that, Gator. Cam the Jellyman. What game is first on the docket?
Oh, Cam is in here, huh? Yeah, I think I'm going to start out. I want to play Black Myth Wukong. I have that one too, but I've heard people having nightmares getting past some of these bosses. So I'm going to take baby steps. So I think I'm going to do Warhammer. I'm going to do Space Marines 2 starting, I guess it's going to be next week because next week will be October. Can't believe, man. I keep thinking September's already gone. This is nuts.
Yes, sir.
This is nuts. Let's see what else. So I might be picking that Dynasty Warriors Origins up. There's one called Hell Is Us. It's an action adventure game. That might be something possibly to add down the road. There's no release date, so it's probably 2025 or 2026, I'm sure. Monster Hunter Wilds gameplay was also out. I tried playing Monster Hunter a long time ago, and I just never got into Monster Hunter. I know people are like gasping, like, how can you not like Monster Hunter? I just couldn't get into it, man. It just seemed like it was just jump in when they make a pass and hack and slash, and then jump away, jump in. I just never really got into Monster Hunter. I tried it. Believe me, I tried it. I'd follow the steps into the next areas to try to finish the monster off. And
you're definitely not alone there, Gator. I like the artwork.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I like the artwork, but
it's a beautiful game.
I just don't enjoy playing it myself. That's just me, though.
I remember you had to have some awkward links you had to cut and paste for people to be able to join your game and help you out. It just was too awkward for me back then and just didn't get a good taste in my mouth with that. But I have seen some shows. I didn't see any movies at the theater this week because of obvious reasons. We had a hurricane bearing down on us, and when a hurricane that big bears down on Florida, pretty much everyone closes up shop. So everyone just gets inside and off the roads and that stuff. But I'm going to see Megapolis this Saturday at the local AMC. I have the AMC Stubbs A-list. Got to check it out.
Nice.
3 movies free, any screen, every week. I mean, that's a Francis Ford Coppola movie. It has Adam Driver in it. It's based on an idyllic, utopian future America. The critics didn't love it. They were kind of lukewarm to it, but it just came out. It's actually just came out today. So I'm going to be watching that one. The Wild Robot, which will probably be the only animated movie I'll watch this year. We're going to see that next week. There's one with Aubrey Plaza in it called My Old Ass. It's about an 18-year-old girl who comes face to face with her older 39-year-old self. And I guess she has a mushroom trip or something and tries to find out and learn lessons from her of things not to do when she gets older. I don't know. It looked pretty good. Got really good reviews too. I've been watching AGT on NBC. They had the finals this week. A janitor from the Midwest who has the voice of Steve Perry from Journey. He won, and that was really cool. Rings of Power, season 2, The Penguin, really good. And I just finished a series on Netflix called Chaos. It's with Jeff Goldblum on Netflix. It's about all the mythology, the Greek mythology, all the characters you hear about and all the parables and stories that you heard about the Greek gods back then. It's kind of a parody. It's a little funny, a little comedy in it, but I just finished that. It's 8 episodes. That was very good. Definitely want to check that out. I am going to see the Joker Part 2 starts next Friday. I'll be checking in on that one. Saturday Night Movie. Saturday Night Live, I think, hits their 50th anniversary, their 50th season this Saturday. And they have a movie coming out not on October 11th called Saturday Night Movie. It actually is a remake or like a reimagining of when they first started in 1975, the original Saturday Night Live series. So that looked very, very good. Got good reviews too. Let's see. There's a movie called The 4:30 Movie. It's by Kevin Smith. It's going to be on Prime Video, actually the 30th, which will be Monday. Have you ever, I mean, in the 80s, I'm an 80s kid. So I remember in the 80s, we would go, my mom would drop us off to a theater and we would just movie theater hop all day long. We'd end up seeing like 5 movies, like from 11 o'clock, and my mom would come and pick us up like at 8 or 9 o'clock. I don't know if you ever did that, but that was a big thing we did back in the 80s.
Yep,
and
I definitely did.
that's what that movie's about. The franchise, October 6th on HBO Max, looks really good. Dune Prophecy comes in November on HBO Max. Nobody Wants Us Now is kind of it's got Kristen Bell in it. It's on Netflix. It's kind of like I guess it's a comedy love story. I watched the first couple episodes of it. It looks good. It's really well written. Midnight Family on Apple TV. Evolution of the Black Quarterback on Prime Video. It's a documentary by Michael Vick about how football changed once the black quarterback became part of the equation. So I will definitely see that. There is another movie coming out on October 11th as well on Apple TV called Disclaimer. Look really good. So check those out. But other than that, that's all I got to talk about. You got anything else you want to mention, Sweaty, before we move on?
Yeah, one more thing.
Yeah.
You reminded me of it as you were talking about titles. I did it, Gator.
What'd you do?
So, I don't know if you remember all this time ago, but whenever I was first on your show, that was the beginning of my improvement journey, I guess. I was looking for a podcast to listen to at works and get some inside details about Destiny and just trying to figure this game out, this Rubik's Cube puzzle that I was obsessing about that is the Crucible. So, listened in. Now I get to say I finally not only acquired my flawless title, but I gilded it for the first time.
Nice.
At 5,000 hours, 50 flawlesses later.
Very cool.
Had some help with a few of those flawlesses.
Sure.
Of course.
We all have help.
And I mean, going flawless with your friends is way better than going flawless alone.
It is.
My favorite times going flawless were whenever we brought Wad by kind of accident, and he had never been flawless to the lighthouse before. And also, there was another time with Fluffy and Marky Mark.
Yeah.
We weren't planning on it either. We were just hanging out, and we ended up making it to the lighthouse. So shout out to those guys. Oh, and I'll never forget. There was whenever I had to, the confidence card.
Right.
I had some help from one of our community members there, and I'm very grateful for that experience. I'll never forget it. But yeah, so
Very good,
I was
man.
happy to finally accomplish that and get it done.
Very nice. Very nice, man. That's cool. I really never got into Trials much, so I never really went for flawless. I did get the competitive one. I can't remember what it is now, but Yep, Cam the Jellyman. Yep, SweatySpookz is also an MMA Chad, as you stated in the chat. And no, all these movies I did go over. I actually reviewed all these movies and looked them over, all the trailers and stuff. I'm definitely looking forward to watching these movies. To answer some of the people in chat. But that's it for me. Well, we got a couple big things from Destiny tonight that we need to talk about, and I'm really curious what you think about all this, SweatySpookz, especially some of the Crucible changes coming. So it's going to be a perfect night for me and you to talk about that stuff. So I'm sure Kingsley Mac will nod off, but hey, just some really fun stuff coming up here. So
There's no way he's going to nod off.
I don't know.
Do you think this show is boring? Not the Gator
Are
Show.
you not amused?
Hell no. Not on GDC.
Come on.
Get out of here with that kind of attitude.
Okay. All right. We'll be getting to that right after this. Hey Guardians, would you like to send a question for the show to us? There are 4 ways to do it. First, you can join our Discord server at discord.gg/Guardian Downcast. There's also a join link in our show notes down below. We have Guardians from all walks of life and all over the world, from new lights to day one players to hardcore gamers. There's also a channel labeled Podcast Questions where you can type in your question for the show. So come hang out with us. You can also email us with your question at guardiandowncast@gmail.com, or we also occasionally post about our upcoming show and guest, and you can respond there with your question at Guardian_D_cast is our X handle. Finally, you can send us a voicemail with your question at guardiandowncast.com, and we might play it on the podcast. Think of it as talking with us right on the show. Thanks for listening, and later, Guardian. All right, so we're going to talk about first the raids and dungeons part of the developer insight this week, and we're just going to go down the line here. They say, of course, welcome to the insight of the Codename Frontiers. Over the weeks and months to come, we'll be covering a lot of different topics and changes coming to Dest 2 next year. With these deeper dives, check out the Paving the Way for New Frontiers article for more information and our plans. Now let's talk about our plans for upcoming raid and dungeon content. They say each expansion will continue to offer aspirational content, either a new raid or a new dungeon, with additional content coming in subsequent major updates. So we can go to new raids here. They say raids are a cornerstone of Destiny. They bring fire teams together to tackle overwhelming odds and create legendary moments with the world's first race. So we're still kicking off every year with a new raid, starting with a new raid in Codename Apollo that will stack up against the rich and varied history of experiences in space. Raids will continue to offer a complete pool of exclusive weapons, armor, and exotics, and these can be obtained at higher tiers by taking an additional challenge. Facing a tall task of following up Salvation's Edge, we are exploring some unique twists on the raid format. This is the one area we will not be giving very much information, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't spoil it. Don't tell us what's going to be in it. I mean, come on, guys. They have something called raid feats. Our current iteration of master raids and challenges has followed a similar format for a few years now, so it's time to change the formula. Starting with Codename Apollo, new raids will support a raid-specific form of challenge customization, where players can select modifiers called feats. Feats will expose and enforce rules such as time trials, I love clocks, contest combatants, and other mode modifiers unique to the raid. The more feats active during a run, the better the chance to earn higher tiered rewards. The raid challenge update and the first major update following Codename Apollo, we will receive a challenge update, adding new rewards, new mechanics, new feats, and potentially even new encounters. This update will kick off with a raid race event and will be a venue for experienced raiders for further challenge their skills. In addition to the highest tiers of the raid rewards being available from these challenges, new and exclusive rewards will be added as well, including new weapons and catalysts for the raid's weapon exotic. Now, what this tells me when they talk about new challenge updates, does the word raid layers come to mind? Because it does. When I started reading about this, I started thinking raid layers. What I'm curious is if they're going to bring back a Leviathan style raid setup again. You know how all the raids were built into the Leviathan, and the next raid layer would break down and you'd go underground into another area of the big Leviathan ship, the Planet Eater, And it just seems to me like that's the way they're going here. I mean, the way they keep talking about this stuff. But they talk about dungeons. Dungeons are an important part of our in-game activity ecosystem. They provide an accessible raid-like experience that features unique encounters and mechanics that demand less social coordination and scheduling. So Codename Behemoth, the second expansion of the year, will include a brand new dungeon. Also, because the dungeon will be launching as part of our Codename Behemoth expansion, there will be no longer be a separate dungeon key. Thank you, Bungie. We don't need extra dungeon keys. Additionally, the reward for offering for new dungeons will be expanded to include full weapon and armor sets on par with raids. That is a first. I don't think they've ever come with full... Have they had full armor sets for dungeons? I know they have for raids, but have they had it for dungeons? Do you remember if they've had anything? Have they had?
What was the first one? The stasis hand cannon I used to taunt you with.
Oh.
What was that dungeon again?
You're talking about the... You're talking about
the ogre encounter.
Yes. The stasis hand cannon?
Yeah, the 140. What else did?
I'm trying to think what that was. I know the gun.
The Luke Cave.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Luna's, the Luna?
That did have armor. Now, okay, correction here, though, because that was 30th anniversary. So it could have been 30th anniversary armor versus for the dungeon, because after that, I can't recall any armor sets that come from a dungeon. And, I mean, I'm not an expert in the field of PvE, but as far as I can remember, going after the Dead Man's Tail exotic weapon as an example, that came from a dungeon. Same thing with Hawkmoon, but those
what about full armor
never
sets?
Had armor. Well, that's what I'm talking about, right?
Okay, right.
So with that first dungeon I told you about with the 30th anniversary, I don't think it was a full armor set because of a dungeon, but because of the 30th anniversary pack, because these other dungeons afterwards, I can't recall ever getting armor.
Well, the last thing they say here is dungeon content will also figure prominently in the new portal as part of the Pinnacle Ops category. They give you a link here for more information on the portal. Several updated dungeons will be available to launch and play with full challenge customization. While raid content will not initially be part of the portal categories, we are exploring ways to incorporate it in a future release. Until then, new and legacy raid content will continue to be available in their current locations along with their exclusive reward pools. Now, do you know, have you read up much about what this portal is, Sweaty?
Not at all.
Okay.
Nothing. Zero is the first time I'm hearing of any of it.
I'll give you a TLDR. They're doing it for a lot of the Nightfalls, they haven't figured it out yet for Crucible or for the Gambit. But for the Vanguard Ops playlist, what it basically is, you know how you join a Nightfall and they give you all the modifiers of the game? Well, supposedly with the portal, you're going to be able to customize and pick and choose what you want in the Nightfall or in a master raid or something higher level raid. It's like a build your own encounter, build your own Nightfall type of thing. And the more modifiers you add, the better gear you're going to get. So there's probably a little circle that fills. And when you fill the circle, then you go to the next tier. That's kind of the way they built it. It's kind of a create your own, and that's what they're saying here is they're going to put dungeons, and I didn't know if they said raids too, but they said dungeons will be in the new portal. So, I don't know. I think if I was Bungie and I was making raid content and I had a small team, I think I would be thinking more in line with the Leviathan, because the Leviathan, if you think about it, you had one world. And all they had to do was just add into that world, add areas that, like you get on a pedestal from the beginning of the raid, the initial Leviathan raid, and you would go into a door would open underneath, and you would go into a whole new area with all new encounters and stuff. I just wonder if they have time to go that far. What do you think? You think they'll do another Leviathan, or do you think it's just going to be, hey, we're going to add some modifiers? I'm
not really certain, but I mean, they already have a a link there talking about the portal, and they do have various portal categories. So as an example, individual categories available in the portal are solo ops, so 1 to 3 player activities requiring very low time or social commitments. Fire team ops, so 3 player activities. Flashpoint ops, which is a different verbiage that we've seen coming from Bungie specifically, or at least Destiny franchise. 6 player activities for match made or pre-made groups. Pinnacle Ops, so 3 player activities featuring some more challenging content, including dungeons, exotic missions, and full-length onslaughts. Pinnacle Ops have an exclusive reward pool to claim, but success is not guaranteed. Can you tell I'm Canadian? Sorry. Last one is Crucible, a selection of core Crucible playlists for solo players and fire teams, providing an opportunity to test your mettle against other Guardians. An exclusive reward pool as well available to claim with the same depth of tier as other categories. So it does look like they put some thought behind this already, but in terms of, is there something in game now comparable to what this, I guess, type of experience could potentially be? I don't think so. I think this is going to be new.
Well, I guess,
but I don't know.
They've been purposely vague on it, so I'm sure they're going to fill us in on more of it as we go in. I guess this is something, this will be what, June of 2025 when all this starts coming out with the new, Apollo. I guess will be the first major expansion. So I guess they'll probably lead up to it, I'm sure, and tell us more about this portal system. But that's not coming in these next 2 episodes. This is something that's coming well beyond the episodes in this new frontier. So, the next thing they did talk about, is the new combatant modifiers and more. And, they said the problem today in Destiny, playing the same PvE activity repeatedly can feel like a chore, particularly when chasing a reward or following a narrative. Running through the latest exotic mission, the second, third, fourth time just doesn't feel enough to justify the time spent. Eventually, when each enemy spawns, where to fight them, and how to win any challenge. This is a component of Destiny 2 we want to greatly improve with Codename Frontiers, keeping activities fresh and challenging each time you run them. That was very interesting because one of the things I talked about in last week's show was the fact that Destiny doesn't have really any appealing, repeatable content. Because, eventually, like I said, you memorize where everything comes out. After you destroy this ogre right here, you're going to have some hive come out of the center here. You just know what's going to happen when you run a lot of these PvE stuff. So they're trying to fix that.
And the thing with something like that particular statement too, and I'm reminded of this every time that Kingsley's on the show, is that people are motivated by different motivators. So Kingsley, as an example, he's very motivated for the experience of things. Like he doesn't give a rat's rear side what weapons, as long as it's effective, what he takes with him into a raid or something to that effect, right? Whereas I myself, I'll do a strike or whatever activity it is at a particular encounter hundreds of times over just to get a chance at rolling that perfect roll.
Right.
Because I have an intended use that I want to take this particular roll, incorporate it into my build, take it into trials. And at least that's been the game loop that I've been motivated by. So again, different people, different experiences, different motivations. But in Kingsley's case, because he's not, let's say, someone like me that plays a ton of PvP, he's on the other end of the spectrum for things like raids. But he doesn't need the materials because he has everything that he needs because he just likes to play it for the experience. So, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I follow you, man. And Kingsley prides him. He's in chat tonight. He prides himself with bringing new players through dungeons and raids. That's what he really enjoys doing. That's where he gets really a kick out of running multiple raids and dungeons, is he loves chirping people through it. That's always been his love. That's always been his strength, is he loves when he does raids and dungeons. He loves to chirp people through.
For people like Kingsley, for the PvP folks like me.
And me, because face it, I used to be a diehard raider and I just don't raid as much as I used to. And I don't do the dungeons like I used to when they first came out. So, yeah, thank goodness.
Kato. Can't forget Kato.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a bunch out there. Soccer runs me through so many GMs. Anytime I need a GM done, he's right there to help me out. And Technical and his crew are going to bring me through Salvation's Edge next week. So, God bless him, man, because I understand what solo players go through trying to find 6 people to put together. One, that know how to run the raid, and 2, just getting 6 people together that want to run it at the same time. I can understand how tough it can be to set raid groups up, and hopefully through the Owl Sector Alliance of Discords, we're able to at least appease that a little bit. But they went on and said the solution to that problem is they're going to improve the experience of replaying activity content by adding variety and unpredictability to each playthrough. They said they have a first-class modifier system. Destiny has added modifiers to activities since the launch of the first Nightfall. Who else remembers trying to wrangle Solar Shield Shanks in 2014 Archon Priest? That's me. Because I didn't have anything solar, and it was a pain in the butt to kill those things because they would take you down. With Codename Frontiers, we're investing more than ever in our modifier systems to improve the fun and challenge in activities. So they are creating content, focus modifiers that change the way players approach combat on every playthrough, through Banes, enemy modifiers, and combat modifiers. Yeah. Right. They're also going to be designing modifiers so that they can combine to create a wide variety of experiences, and then reduce barriers to entry and time to fun. I like that term, by reducing the number of build crafting necessary modifiers and replacing them with new combat modifiers. Well, speaking of those, the first thing they mention here is Banes. Also known as combatant affix modifiers, an enemy unit with a Bane will present a different challenge to players according to which Bane is affecting them. Enemies that spawn with these modifiers appear unpredictably during an activity, so each run will present a different challenge. There you go. There you go, Kingsley. Maybe it's the closest thing to a random generated situation. The first one they call is meteor. Well, the ones they talk about are meteors.
Oh, meteors and shock. Yeah.
The Meteor's Bane gives combatants the ability to launch solar projectiles that track but can be shot down. Shock will continuously build up a charge that will discharge on a single target within line of sight, and killing this Bane causes it to spread to others nearby. Here's a quick video of what that is exactly. There's no sound here, but you can see, remember these from a certain Grandmaster? Or was it Battlegrounds? I think it was Battlegrounds where I saw those. And there's the shock right there. They're showing the shock too. So they have another Bane called Berserk, which is pretty cool. Killing combatants with Berserk causes other combatants nearby to enrage. So check this out. They have like that purple over their head. And as soon as you kill with the purple, now you can see the purple spreads to the other enemies. See the purple highlights over them, and I guess they just come right at you. Someone mentioned that maybe all of their stats just max out. I think I heard that on another podcast, but maybe that's what it is. But here's the one I'm not happy about. It's called Punchable. Punchable combatants are immune to all ranged attack damage and damage from status effects until they are hit with a melee attack. I am not looking forward to this one, but here's an example.
This is why you need a Strand Hunter on your team. They can just swing right in there, punch him, and get out.
See? There's no effect. You try to throw a grenade, no effect. So you have to literally go and punch him to get this, to be able to start doing damage to him. This is not something that they need to have in this game. Now, what I'm curious about...
Gator. We're going to get through this together. The good thing is you have a son named Cam the Jellyman, and what Cam's going to teach you is how to run in there safely, grab a hold of his foot, and bring him to the ground, make sure that you get a good armbar in place, and you're going to tell him, never again.
And then the enemy's going to slap me dead, and then I got to start all over from the beginning.
No, they're not going to slap you. They're going to cry in fear, because they know that if they get through you, they got to go through Cam next, and that's just going to be a no-go.
All the major bosses in Nightfalls, you definitely go up to them and slap them around. You never die from that, right? I'm just a little facetious. But what I'm curious though, do charged projectile melees count? That's going to be the question.
I would think so.
So we'll have to see. They better, because I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be happy if that's. I'll probably avoid that one if that modifier's in there.
Well, wait now.
I won't be
there's
adding
an
that
enemy
one.
right now that kind of has something like that, where I forget the terminology because I haven't been in Destiny in recent days, but there's a particular raid, and I know Kingsley will know, but he floats up in the air and he has this little shield around him, and in order to continue the encounter, you have to run up to him and punch him, and that's the only way you'll kill him. So I think what they're doing is just kind of mainstream that one feature that they had within that particular raid. I want to say it's Deepstone Crypt, but I could be wrong. Again, not a perfect person when it comes to PvE rating and remembering details, but I know that Kingsley will know what I'm talking about or what I'm referencing.
I'll avoid it, Kingsley. I don't like melee. I mean, if it's charge melee, if I could throw a fireball melee or a void melee of, a void ball, throw it at him to engage it, we'll have to just see. But this is the one that I liked. It's called Nuclear. Once a unit with Nuclear Bane reaches low health, it begins an arming sequence. If the unit is not defeated before the sequence completes, it explodes in a massive fiery shockwave. Granted, I've seen this on some bosses, but not on low-level enemies like these. That's a red bar right there. And you see he shot it, and it's okay, now it's building. You better knock him out.
He still has a super, too. Oh, okay.
That's pretty painful. Okay. That looks pretty painful, so I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, that one interests me because it gives you, it makes you, be quick to knock them out. You whenever you see that solar whatever halo over that enemy, even if it's a red bar, you'll know as a team to knock them out first. Otherwise, that nuclear will go off. They said under enemy modifiers here, while Banes will appear intermittently on individual units, enemy modifiers are used to change base aspects of all enemies in an activity. Adjust your strategies to account for an active enemy modifier, or you may end up flat-footed when something unexpected happens. For example, under a certain enemy modifier shipping in Revenant, that's the next episode, some enemies may have copied some tricks and booby-trapped their drops from a famous Scorn Baron. Okay, so we're gonna get legendary Engram drops that are gonna explode on us now, or throw traps or something.
They learned that from Spider.
Yeah, he did. They talked about combat modifiers. Modifiers aren't just about changing enemies; they can affect players too. Surge mods are a classic modifier type that's been used in years for Destiny ritual activities, but we've come to realize that too many forceful build crafting modifiers can become barriers for players. So we've been working to create new modifiers that are more accepting of varied strategies and builds. More on modifiers to come. They had a few frequently asked questions here. What about champions? Will they be using Banes too? Champions will still exist in our new feature for modifiers, but they will not have Banes.
But Gator, can Bane stack on an enemy?
In Revenant, only one Bane can be present on an enemy at any given time.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you. I got one more, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Shoot.
Are you replacing all the old modifiers with these new ones?
No. We're trying to strike balance of keeping the best of the old modifiers that work well with the new ones. But these new modifiers raise the bar enough that will be most likely start to retire the older ones over time. I don't know, man. What do you think of this? See, I'm not a big PvE player. We're both of the same cloth here. We both love PvP. But
I'll say that I like the sound of it, but where I struggle to give an accurate answer is that because I don't do it enough, I'm having a hard time just like even beginning to understand it. I understand it, but to be able to understand where I would fit in all of those experiences or how I would be feeling, because I struggle enough as it is.
I mean, I think for people like Kingsley and people who play PvE activities, I think this will be a plus.
Well, I just don't know. And I was just going to say, the Banes, like, this is a good way to mix it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Without deriving, or shall I say, derailing too far off of the core experience.
Right.
Which we kind of need right now. Mm-hmm. But will it be enough? Don't know. That is yet to be seen.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of all this? I mean,
the core problem that they even have here is today in Destiny playing the same PvE activity repeatedly can feel like a chore. So if that's the main problem that they're trying to tackle, I think this is a good step in the right direction.
Right. Okay. Well, those are the two recent blogs they put out this week. So that means it's time for This Week in Destiny. Hey everyone, as I take my mandatory bathroom break, I'd like to thank our Patreon community for giving back and continue to help out a listener-supported podcast like this one. If you've received any value for today's episode and want to give back, check out guardiandowncast.com and select the Patreon button to learn more about it. Now let's return to the conversation. And yes, I did wash my hands. Later, Guardian. They did mention in the This Week in Destiny for September 26, 2024, that they did announce the next dungeon coming in this next episode, which is actually coming on the Friday, the 11th? I think October 8th is when the next
October
episode.
11th Friday. Yeah.
So we're talking about that Friday will be the first dungeon of the episodes, and it's called Vesper's Host.
Yep.
So they don't talk a whole lot about it here, but they said it's coming to Revenant. It will be released Friday, October 11th. Not only the first dungeon to have contest mode enabled.
Hello.
We're also excited to announce the Vesper's Host dungeon race. So what basically they're going to do is contest mode will be enabled for the first 48 hours. The first 3 fire teams to loot the final chest of the dungeon will be the winners. And they didn't talk about belts or anything, what the prize is going to be. I'm not really sure. But here's the thing, because the first thing I thought of when they said raid race or, dungeon race is like, okay, so for 48 hours, I'm not going to touch the dungeon because it's going to be on contest mode for 48 hours. Well, they learned their lesson from the past raid races. As soon as the first 3 fire teams cross the finish line, it'll unlock on normal mode for everyone. So that's a saving grace here, because I was right away. I was like, my eyes were glazing over. I'm like, I'm just not going to touch this dungeon until this stupid raid race or dungeon race is done. So I don't say stupid, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not part of this. I'm not part of the community that's wanting to try to speed run this stuff.
You're not saying the content is stupid. You're just saying the gatekeep is stupid because you just want to get beyond it.
We're all excited to play the new dungeon and at least experience what what everything's going to be about. Why put this contest mode in place? But I understand they're trying to create some hype here. It's mid-season Destiny, and they're trying to get more people to engage in the content. So I understand. I think that's all we need to say on that. They're going to have the dungeon.
I will say that I think it's interesting that it's the first dungeon to have contest mode.
It is. It is.
I know our friends like Kato are going to definitely enjoy that. I think that's pretty cool.
I think Jimmy Rayner, I think he talked about it. Dimwee, I think, talked about in our Discord was going to try to run it. We'll have to see. They're pretty hardcore raiders, so we'll just have to see how that goes. If you follow the raid race, or I'm sorry, I keep playing the raid race. If you follow the dungeon race on Twitch, and if it is approved Destiny content streamer on Twitch, there's a couple of banners, new, what do they call them? New emblems you can get here. So, watch at least 2 hours of any creator, and you get the one called Effortless Flow. And then
sounds like a BJJ
if you
type of related.
Yeah.
emblem.
And if you subscribe to one of these approved Destiny 2 streamers, you'll get the broadcasting from Dark Emblem, which it looks okay. I don't know about you. I don't know.
I think what they're going for here is that icon in the left corner kind of looks like a Doom pixelated sort of like back in the day room.
Yeah.
I think they're just kind of give it a retro feel, but
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Well, here's the news that perked my ears up. They're going to have a Revenant Act 1 developer live stream. October 8th. That is Reset.
October 1st?
I'm sorry, October 1st at 10 a.m., which is basically Reset. Developer live stream will share detailed look at everything coming to the first act of Revenant, along with the early chat detailing some of the upcoming changes that will arrive with Codename Frontiers. So we'll have a new emblem you can earn.
Live stream on October 1st, and then the launch on the 8th.
Right. Yep. Thank you for correcting me on that. Yeah. It is, that is the next, actually, as you're hearing this podcast, if you're listening to the audio version, it will be tomorrow. If you're listening to this on a Monday. So, all you have to, I think, watch is the first, or at least 15 minutes of the live stream, which tells me it's probably going to be like a 30-minute live stream. If it's only 15 minutes, maybe an hour. Usually it's an hour, but, I'm really curious to see what this is going to be about. We definitely want to hear more about this. That emblem looks good. That looks like a nice emblem there.
I think I remember, when they were doing live streams like that but just before the Lightfall, one of the Twitch drops enabled, kind of like they're promoting here, was watch 1 hour, get an emblem, but they cut their stream short at like 47 minutes, and it wasn't even the full hour to give the drop.
And they would leave the stream open for, I think, another 45 minutes.
Yeah, you remember now, right?
So people could claim it. Yeah, that came in late. I get that.
It's a welcoming touch to see 15 minutes instead of the full entire thing.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Well, all right. Now we're down to the nitty gritty here. The PvP strike team stopped in and talked. There's a lot of stuff that they're talking about, and let's go right to Revenant. The first thing, they're bringing back another revised map, Solitude. I don't know if you remember this map, Sweaty. I love this map. This area right here, I would get so many kills right here because there's steps right here and steps right here. And then people would take the B flag right here in the middle. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but right here, I would get so many kills shooting people at the B flag right here. This was such a fun map. It had caves on one side and like more of a vegetative area on the other. This is a really pretty map. I'm really glad they're bringing this one back because I thought this was a lot of fun. So, yeah,
I definitely remember this map. This would have been Season of the Bow for me.
Yes.
We were heavy using bows, coming from outside, going to B flag, and then going back and around through the caves to get back to the spawn cycle.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember this map.
Yeah. Well, that's one good news. They've updated some UI features. I thought this was pretty good, too. We've made several UI changes that should help provide information more clearly during combat. To start, class icons will return, displaying in place of Guardian rank on enemies, which who cares about Guardian rank when you're playing Crucible? Because it has nothing to do with how good your player you are in Crucible, at least. So you're going to have the Warlock emblems, the Titan, the Hunter emblems over their heads. So because let's face it, man, a lot of the armor looks a lot alike between the classes. Yeah. So I like this change. I like that they're doing this. But also what they're doing is they've updated the tombstone icon for allies to show their tool of destruction. Now, here's a question I have, Sweaty. You see the tombstone icon right here. Then you see a hand cannon below it. Does this mean that he was using a hand cannon or he got killed by a hand cannon? I think he got killed by a hand cannon, right?
It would be he was killed by a hand cannon, correct.
That's very good information to know.
Very good for Trials, because a lot of the times if you're playing solo, you don't have the benefit of a teammate saying he's got a hand cannon, he's got a pulse rifle, he's got a sniper. So especially getting that kill from such a distance, say using a sniper, is going to be good information to have. So
Yep. Just looking at chat here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just seeing what feedback we're getting on this. Well, okay, we'll keep moving on here for the PvP updates. They're updating the mercy rules. In a nutshell, what they're doing here is they are allowing the game to go, moving forward, they have extended the window within which a game can mercy and close the gap between people who are joining in progress and enabling a mercy. So they're saying that join in progress will be displayed if a mercy is imminent. Due to the increased window, we expect the number of games that end in mercies to increase. But as soon as we have enough data, they'll fine tune that stuff. So, what do you think? Better mercy rules? I mean, I don't know, man. There's some windows. I'm like, how are we not mercied yet? You know?
Well, I think some of the problem was that it wasn't working as expected for some time. And that's kind of what you're referencing at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that, making it feel a little extenuous, in my opinion. Some games would be like 25 all the way out to the end.
Yeah.
And it's just, it sucks. A mercy is supposed to be merciful.
Yes, exactly. It's supposed to end the game quickly. If there's definitely a mismatch in two fire teams, it's supposed to say, okay, we get this game is not going to turn out the way we thought it would. And just end the game. Move on,
Yeah, so they're going to tune the mercy trigger limits for the corresponding game mode, and it'll be good. Do you mind if I go over the comp and
please go ahead.
Back in for the trial stuff?
Yep.
Cool.
Go for it.
Awesome. So the competitive playlist, we have two changes. We, as in Destiny 2 team, coming to our competitive playlist in Revenant that may sound small, but we think will have a noticeable positive impact on the experience. We've reduced the variability of points granted based on the skill delta between the two teams. Currently, as it stands, the difference in the opposing team's skill compared to your skill can have an outsized impact on how many points you gain after a win or lose after a loss. While this can help to offset the sting of falling to a higher skilled team that is currently at or near your rank, the variability can also make the point reward amounts feel confusing. So we've streamlined the way the points are calculated to better align the actual rewards with what players would expect to see after a game. So just to quickly recap over that, because sometimes whenever you're the host, and audience wouldn't know this, Todd, but we do because we're OGs like that.
Yep.
You're going through the motions and you're on performance, and it's like, let's talk about this so I can retain what I just said.
I mean,
okay, so reduce variable of points grant based on the skill delta. Okay, so essentially what this is addressing, sometimes the way points are either rewarded or taken do not make sense right now.
They don't.
In the current comp system, the way it is, I mean, you could lose a match, perform well, maybe even be the top performing person of your team, but lose a lot of points.
Yeah.
Other times, you can get beat pretty badly and lose no points, like 7.
It's true.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me either.
The thing I like here, what they were talking about here is, say you're the strongest on your 3 stack.
Right.
You're randomly, you're playing solo, and you jump in here, and you're holding your team up, and you're obviously going to lose because it's just a lopsided game. Well, the great thing about this is that you're not going to be punished as much as the other two that maybe didn't contribute to the match as much. And this goes back to performance-based, how they're awarding the points or taking away the points, the severity of the points are taken away at the end. I like this. I like that they're doing this. So good on you, Bungie. We'll see if it works. We'll see. I don't know.
So I'll get to the next competitive point here in a moment, but first I'm going to take a moment to answer Cam the Jellyman's question, which he says, I want to know what you guys want to see changed with Crucible and if this is going in the right direction. Cam, just to quickly answer that, in short, I think that ever since Destiny, aka Bungie, whatever, has announced the Destiny 2 PvP strike team, things have slowly been going in the right direction, but in a pattern of 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Now, when I say 3 steps back, typically I mean, the news of the Bungie layoffs. Of course, that would be considered a step back, and the fallout to follow afterwards. Not to mention, they're saying that they're downsizing the particular content drops that they're going to be giving out, although some of it, it's going to be free drops.
Right.
So it makes sense. There's got to be a balance here. But in terms of just PvP strike team and the direction that PvP has been moving in, I think that PvP itself has been moving in the right direction. They're still trying some things. They're taking away some banger ideas that they had in the past. They're putting in some old bad ones that they had in the... You know what I'm saying? They're constantly changing things. I forget the game mode that they had introduced last season in competitive, and they also brought it to Trials. But it was basically where they discouraged the use of your special weapons, such as shotguns, such as
like hardware.
It was like hardware.
I loved hardware. It was a great. It's primary weapons, I think, or you could use other weapons, but it was very scarce.
It wasn't called hardware.
No, I know you're talking about the ammo system. Oh yeah.
Exactly. So
I can't remember.
Counter. I want to say it starts with a C.
They didn't keep it up they didn't keep in the game. What's it called?
Checkmate.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And they don't have it right now in the game. And I think that was a great success.
I thought it was.
But again, I still think the overall scheme of things, we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. I mean, Bungie has to, in order to, I mean, it is a 10-year game, Kingsley. I get it. But they have to innovate. They have to keep innovating in PvP because they still have a solid player base in PvP. I know the numbers are down right now, but let's think about it here. Think about all the competitive, all the comparable games right now that are out that are pulling for people's attention. And there's a lot of new kids on the block. People are wanting to jump in and play Space Marines and Wukong. And, I mean, you have your PvP games out there. I mean, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is coming out soon. So, I mean, the player base is always going to go up and down. And that's just the way, the population is.
Population. Whenever Destiny has a healthy population is when PvP is at its best.
Yes. Better sample.
And I'm sure even Kingsley from the PvE perspective of things, or Kato, or, our other friend Sin, they could all probably attest to the same thing, that whenever there's a good health, well, I guess maybe even not actually, because we're mostly playing with our friends in PvE, unless you're doing some public, playlist type things, I suppose.
Right.
But everybody wins whenever there's a high population in PvP.
Do you want to talk about lobby balance? I mean, it gets real technical here. Just one last note on competitive, and we'll move on to the next topic. So they're just saying that they've made a change on how placement matches work. So at the start of a season, you have to play your first 7 matches in comp before you can start earning your 1 out of 3 rewards to get something like a comp weapon drop. Yep.
So that's all they're talking about there. So they're trying to fine tune that more or less.
Okay.
Lobby balancing. So at any point in time, Todd, you can feel free to just cut me off and jump right in if you have something to mention here.
Well, I'll just TLDR this because they get really technical here. They have an improved snake draft system that they wanted to put in place for the way they balance lobbies, and it's the way they want it. But there was a bug, so they had to hold it back for at least I think they said a few weeks.
Oh, snake draft system.
Yeah, but they have a backup system which they called I think it was lobby rank averaging. What was it? They had a backup system that they were using that was working good it was working. They were using this system and they have it as a fallback. And the TLDR here is they're going to use this system until I think it was lobby rank average is what they were using. It was called, but they had an issue with the snake draft, the snake draft 2.0. Where it's supposed to balance teams better, especially even in fire team based matchmaking, it was supposed to balance lobbies better as far as finding matches. And I'm always for trying to find a fair game. And I realize with the slow player base right now that's just going to be tough to do. But we really don't have to get into this part, Sweaty. It basically just says, hey, we have a new snake draft system that we're using. There's a bug. We have to wait for a little while. We'll tell you when it comes out. We'll roll it up. We're going to roll it out soon. But they have this lobby rank average system, which was their fallback, and that's all they're saying there. So, but the thing you want to get to, man, you want to start telling people about the sandbox?
Yeah, sure, man. So there's a lot to talk about in the sandbox.
Yeah.
But we had an abilities and gameplay preview last week, and next week we'll have a weapons and armor preview.
Yes.
So we're not going to spend too much time on it here this week. They mentioned here that we did have one note we missed last week. In Revenant, we're going to be placing a cap on the amount of crouch inputs you can enter, Priceless Cloud, you listening? Per second to equalize hold to crutch with toggle crouch in terms of its behavior. So essentially what they're saying here is crouch spamming. This is mainly targeted at macro crouch spamming.
Yes.
What we don't know yet, and the reason I can call it Priceless, I love you, Priceless, don't hurt me, is because of teabagging. We don't know if it's going to affect teabagging yet, how quickly or how rapid you're going to be crouching. Is it just macros? That information we don't have yet. But what we do know is they're going to be, in some sense, penalizing the idea of crouching too much, too quickly, too fast, aka macro targeting, because they did say that macros are against their terms of use. So yes, that is something that they're taking some action behind.
Yep.
In addition, we also want to focus on a small bit of weapon balance. We'll have an upcoming and generally give a summary of where our meta sits currently. So, I'm not going to go through all this, but they do have some graphs that they show us talking about our primary weapons, some usage, difference between scout rifles, pulse rifles, auto rifles, the typical graph that we would see.
I studied this, and the takeaway on this is this first graph up top here talks about what the meta is or what everyone's using in all skills. And I'm a pulse rifle user. But you notice auto rifles and hand cannons are way up here, getting used quite a bit. And that's against all skills. But let's separate it by high skill. Hand cannon's still way too powerful. And in my opinion, I'm not a hand cannon lover, but hand cannons are just still too strong. And you can see pulse rifles and auto rifles start falling down into your average use. And you get into higher level activities, and hand cannons are just crazy. And you get into high skill detail. They talk about actually what weapons. The Rose, Elsie's rifle, Kvostov. And Kvostov has been very powerful in the Crucible. And even Ace of Spades right here is having a lot of use. And I guarantee you, Ace of Spades, this is in PC lobbies. Because the Ace of Spades is wonderful on PC. Versus, it's okay on console, but on PC, it's really hitting hard. And you get radar up all the time. I mean, it's a cheat code. So that's all they were saying there.
And then
Sweaty.
They go on to also offer some numbers in terms of what's going to be nerfed and buffed.
Oh boy, here we go.
If you want some in-depth information on that, I'm actually going to recommend that you go take a look at that one, because mostly people just want one or two, or their weapon choice preference.
Right.
So just go read the TWID if you want the specifics on your favorite weapons.
Yep.
And they do the exact same thing for special and heavy. They have some graphs here. They talk about the specific numbers and the deep details and the deep dive it, the usage, and what they're going to be doing about the usage, as well as some of the particulars. So again, if you want to get the heavy information, go take a look at the TWID.
Yep.
After that, we have some Trials of Osiris news.
Yes.
I'm excited for this because I'm a Trials pleb. That's where I spend most of my time.
Yep.
All right. You ready, Todd?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Well,
oh, right.
Go ahead. You or me?
I'll take this one. Yeah, we'll go through the next piece together.
Let's do it.
Trials of Osiris. We've identified several issues with Trials of Osiris that are contributing to its current state, and over the next 2 episodes, we'll be working towards addressing them. Revenant will feature a smaller push to address some of the low-hanging fruit, while Heresy will have a significant rebuild of the Trials of Osiris experience. We will share more information on it. Sounds so tone-deaf, doesn't it? We will share more information on our goals below, but expect full preview on. Yes, I'll drink to that right now on the changes to come later.
There we go.
In Revenant, we want to address the first handful of issues by improving our map rotations. There's a step in the right direction.
Okay.
Making sure our weapon rewards are strong and meta-relevant, and improving how the game sandbox feels when played at a high-intensity level. In the future, we have an additional handful of issues we'd like to address by adding new aesthetic rewards that allow players to show off both determination and skill, further improving the trio experience. So players are motivated to play with friends for once. Hello. And our overall goal is to make Trials more fun and more rewarding for all different types of players. So that's the TLDR of what they're going to be opening up about. Yep. Mr. Gator, let's dive into this Trials changes for Revenant, shall we?
Well, during this next episode, they actually have they're actually giving us the rotation. It's going to be Dissonance, Cirrus Plaza, Eventide Labs, Javelin 4, yay, I'll be there. Burnout, Endless Veil, Altar of Flame.
Burnout.
I hate Burnout. They get sniped every time in the same lane. Never mind. Never mind. Altar of Flame, Wormhaven, Rusted Lands, and then Midtown. I don't know. I like those maps. Those are, other than Burnout, I like the new maps. I like the new maps they got that just came out this last season, or for Final Shape, I guess. We're interested to hear your feedback on the above maps. Which ones are your favorites in Trials? But in terms of rewards, we want to add new and exciting rewards, improve the ones that currently exist in the Trials loot pool and strike a better balance in terms of what rewards can be earned each week. So, for Revenant, we'll be introducing a newly buffed, strongly statted, heavy burst hand cannon to the loot pool. Yesterday's
Warden's
question.
Law, right?
I think
Warden's Law.
I'm on it, man. That's probably one hand cannon that I actually will work for because I love Warden's Law. I love the 2-shot.
Yeah.
Alongside a revision of the rocket launcher, Tomorrow's Answer. Now talk about tone deaf. Are you excited about Tomorrow's Answer there, Sweaty?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, come on, man. Quit lying. Tomorrow's Answer?
Man.
Come on.
I for the Moist Boys. We come in, we pack in the heat. We the Moist Boys. Damn right we're looking forward to Tomorrow's Answer.
Come
God
on,
damn it.
man.
Gotta hype this up.
I can't get excited about a rocket launcher. I got a million of them that are all do the same things. You know,
I honestly have no idea which one it was.
Yeah, I actually have one. In DIM. I think I have a Tomorrow's Answer. Let's just find out here real quick.
You know what? While you're taking a look there, Todd, Cam had a question for you, and I wanted to bring it up right quick. So
sure.
He goes on to say, I want to hear my pop's take on teabagging after the trial section.
Teabagging. Right. No, that's not it. No, I got rid of it. I got rid of it. I used to have a Tomorrow's Answer. I think I ran out of vault space. And I just said heck with it. So, nope.
For the audio listeners, we're watching Gator fumble on Twitter. I'm just joking. It's actually DIM.
I'm trying to find it. I was trying to find it on DIM, and of course it's not there. But, yeah, Kingsley Mack had a comment in here. It says, well, here is how I see it. On the PvP side, people are always complaining, and it has never changed over the years on the PvE side. It's gotten to a point where nothing they can do is changed enough. But here's the thing, Kingsley. When it comes to Trials, we play Trials for the guns. We play Trials for the guns. We get the armor. We turn them into ornaments. They're don't get me wrong. The Trials gear looks fantastic. I have it on all of my characters, but we make them into ornaments and then we just put it on top of our armor that we use for everything in PvP. But you got to give us a better gun than a rocket launcher. I'm sorry, that does not get me excited. When I know the rocket launcher is going to be the featured weapon in Trials, I probably will not be playing that week unless it's on Javelin 4. If it's on Javelin 4, I might just deal with it, I guess. But as far as teabagging, some people like the teabagging game. I won't mention names. Certain females out there that we play Crucible with a lot like the teabag. And when it's
we're not going to point Cloud out like that, Gator. That's not very nice. I didn't
say her name. You did. You said her name.
No, you read it down. I read it from your sheet. I have the show notes right in front of me.
No, you didn't. You're not. I don't. There's no show notes. There's no show notes.
You put it in the script right there, line B.
No, but I tell you, if it's among friends, I don't care. Teabag away. Do whatever emotes you want to do. But if you're playing against someone who you don't know or they're not communicating, they can take that the wrong way. And what Cloud gets us into trouble all the time when she'll teabag players on the other team, and all of a sudden I'm getting teabagged by the other team, and I'm like, what's going on here? What did I do to this guy? And it's because some people on our fire team like to teabag a lot. Yes, KJ, it's Cloud. Yeah, it's Cloud. So a lot of times I'll get teabagged. Someone will kill me with their super and think that's the coolest thing and teabag me for it. I'm like, well, yeah, good for you. You used your super on me, a single player. Good for you.
You're also just salty.
It used, that's the thing, man. It used to bug me.
Alligators can deal with salt.
But here's the thing, though. I am not. It's really funny when I play solo. I don't get salty at all. I really don't. Very rarely do I get salty because I'm playing on my time. I don't really care. I'm just adapting to the team I'm playing. I'm doing what I need to do to help the team out. When I'm playing with a group, though, we're playing another team and someone disrespects us on our team, then I tend to take that a little personally. But I don't know. It's a kind of thing where I'm to the point now where teabags and all that stuff, it's just not that big a deal to me anymore. Maybe I've mellowed in my old age. I don't know, but It's just not.
Well, I in particular can identify teabagging coming from one of a few different encampments or schools of thought, if you will.
Yeah.
The most common that we come across, which we always joke about and we always rag on, is the hurt ego. You know the type, Cam. You know, the guy who comes in day one in the gym, thinks he's all that, got his chin up high and his chest puffed out. And it's not until he gets tapped out the 10th, 11th, sometimes even the 12th time by the master or coach or sensei, whatever terminology you're using to reference the black belt, that they concede.
Yeah. 99 Cap, I hear you, man. It's not a sexual dominance thing. It isn't. She just happens to be the person who likes to do it. But Bradley had a good question here. Bradley Irvin, how do you think the icebreaker coming back into the way will change into the way the
game and the way that it'll change.
It'll change. Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading that.
So icebreaker coming back into the game and how it's going to be different.
Do you think it'll regenerate ammo maybe slower? Maybe that's how they'll nerf it.
I've never used it. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with this weapon.
Icebreaker is I used it a ton in Crucible too back in the day. It's got a nice big open sight on it. It's a little unwieldy. It's a heavy rifle. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out in Crucible. Maybe they'll disable the function on it, but it's an exotic. You can't disable an exotic in the Crucible. Then you'd have to start disabling other exotics that have certain perks that you can take advantage of in Crucible. I don't know. I really don't know how it'll be in Crucible, but in PvE content, I mean, I don't know. You never used it, Sweaty. So, but I remember we would go do Vault of Glass and we would all,
what is that? Your fusion rifle?
It's a sniper rifle that regenerates its own ammo.
Copy.
And it's a heavy sniper rifle. So it has a lot of punch. In fact, I remember when I used to fire the icebreaker, that thing would jerk and it was a major recoil on that rifle. But, I tell you, the rifle that I really want to come back is the Darcy. Steel Zealot asked a question in our podcast questions channel, in our Discord. He said, when are they going to fix the Darcy? And I have to admit, Darcy is my favorite sniper rifle because it sounds cool when you shoot it. It has zero recoil and they just nerfed it to the ground. They made it a heavy weapon. Seriously? It's not even a good heavy weapon. I don't understand why they put the Darcy in the heavy slot. I really don't. Especially with the icebreaker coming back. How are they going to deal? Are they going to put icebreaker in the heavy slot too? Because they're both basically the same sniper rifle. They're both heavy, aggressive sniper rifles. I don't know. But
the only other thing that I'm going to say to cap off and finish the topic of teabagging.
Yeah.
So there was a school of hurt ego thought, but also, I know that I'll teabag someone like once or twice if I legitimately earned a play and pulled it off, but I didn't believe it.
Right.
Exactly. But it's not like I'm sitting there doing and then shooting their body and it's just like one rage. Or two, like good job. I can't believe I got that. The other one is just to troll.
Especially if you have a trolley team. If you have a team that's just really flaunting and really just showing off or you just get these teams, man. You'll get these players that'll play you and they'll teabag you because either you're a streamer and people like to teabag streamers, especially when they're live. I don't know about that, but
well, they're dehumanized.
It is a tip of the cap though. If you're playing in comp or 3v3 and you have a really good 1v1 fight and finally they get the better of you and they come out and give you just a little dab, that's a tip of the cap to me. I don't take that personally at all. That literally is like, hey, great battle, but I got you. That's the way when anybody teabags me after a really close 1v1, that's the way I see it. So, well, let's get back to our TWAB here. I want to make sure we answered everything here. I'm just saying tomorrow's answer ain't going to do it for me. I could care less about rocket launchers. So I guess I'll be working for yesterday's question, the Arc Heavy Burst hand cannon. Are you going to work for that one, Sweaty?
I am not excited, but I will probably do the work. Yep.
Okay. I heard Warden's Law is really good.
I don't like the feel of the weapon.
Really?
I don't know. The heavy burst hand cannon, like the da-da.
Okay.
I say this, but I guess I did use the new one that dropped with Lightfall, the Void one in the story.
Right.
But that was PvE, and I did not use it in PvP, so that's just my opinion. Well,
I have to mention this. The heavy burst pulse rifle. I farmed Trials, I think it was on Dissonance, because the rifle they were giving out that week was the new heavy burst Trials rifle. I'll just pull it up real quick. I've got a ton of these. You're gonna laugh when you see how many I got of these. It is a heavy burst pulse rifle. I love the AN-92s from Battlefield. That's why I really love this style of rifle. But I've got them all stored because I think I was playing something the other day. But look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these suckers. And this is a fun rifle. But I spent all weekend getting all of these Aisha's Care pulse rifles, the heavy burst. One, they fire too slow, and versus something like my good old Revision 0, which hits a lot harder. I had no issues with Revision 0 on the heavy burst mode. The range is maxed out on it. But Aisha's Care, I was not impressed, man. I was really let down. I played all weekend because for me, it's about the gun. It's about the gun. Whether it's Battlefield, Call of Duty, or whatever, it's all about the gun for me. And I worked all weekend to get this rifle for it to be very disappointing. It really wasn't as strong as I thought. So the fact that they acknowledge that the heavy burst pulse rifles needed help, they have buffed them. The critical hit damage will be going from 41.95 to 42.55, and they increased the RPM to 320. They did decrease the optimal time to kill from 0.87 to 0.8 flat. So, and aggressive scout rifles, they also helped, gave them a little bit of help. The critical damage went up about 0.7, and it allows better interaction with damage boost. So I'm not a big fan of the aggressive scout rifles, but I guess every little bit will help there. I thought they hit pretty hard already, but the fact that the Aisha's Care and all the heavy burst pulse rifles are getting some help here, I'm really happy about that. I wanted to mention that earlier when we talked about the buffs and nerfs they were doing, but that's the one that stood out to me. Dude, we got to go over the next part because this got me excited.
Post-game standard?
Well, no, the future Trials changes. The
Right.
sneak peek.
Yeah.
But no, let's discuss let's talk about that. They said that we've updated the post-game standard, the non-adept weapon reward. The weekly weapon now has a focus 50% drop rate compared to the others. And instead of the only weapon being on that drop, that way if you already have that weapon, you have a 50-50 shot of getting another Trials weapon. That's all they're saying there. We already have detailed number of changes coming from the ability and weapon sides that we believe will lead to a more balanced experience and promote variety of gameplay at the high end level. So to take bigger swing at things, we're also going to be running a very special variant of labs, class-based trials labs. So you're going to have one of each character in each fire team. What do you think about that?
I think it's going to be different.
They're going to have a hard time finding Titans.
Well, I find too, like when things are in labs, unless people are super excited for it, people typically aren't in there.
Right.
So I don't really see it being, honestly, as sweaty as people might expect it to be. Could just be people checking it out. Could be people just goofing off.
Be a novelty.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have it scheduled to run twice during next season, so we'll have to see what people say about that. A couple additional changes. They're currently being tested. We hope that you have them available to release sometime during the episode. Increasing the Osirian Cypher's cap and allowing them to have a chance to drop as a post-win reward on 7 win cards. Reducing the stratification of the fire team matchmaking to allow duos to match trios more often, with the goal of providing less forgiveness for any solo that gets brought in.
Forgiveness.
Yes. That gets brought into the fill, when they fill the game alongside the duo, if they complete the match. Good point there. Good point. So, okay. That's not bad. But they're going to be really tweaking Trials. Not this episode, but the third episode. And do you want to read that part, Fluffy?
Yeah, definitely.
Fluffy, sorry, Sweaty.
Who?
Sorry, my other PvP brother.
Don't worry, I love Fluffy too.
Yes. Sorry, Freudian slip.
And Rob.
Yes.
So they go on to say that they're going to add some new aesthetic rewards to Trials, including a new armor set, hello,
thank you,
for each class, and a new ship, Sparrow, Ghost, and exclusive emblem. Hell yeah.
About time.
They're going to make the Challenger pool less of an all or nothing experience that prioritizes flawless or bust gameplay. They're intending to lean on what they've started with the flawed card rewards to reward win streaks, making it feel like it's not a waste of time to play, even if you fall at the gates. They want to improve the story of the flawless set of aesthetic rewards so that high skill players can flex appropriately. Seeing a player with a specific armor glow or a new Trials emblem should mean something. I think that's what Raider's talking about when he says the prestige of Trials. However, for Trials to succeed, there needs to be something for everyone, which, aka, they're talking about population. We want to bring additional players into Trials population by offering an alternative experience more in line with Iron Banner in terms of the loot chase, but for 3v3. The focus here is on making it rewarding to play and not necessarily relying almost entirely on wins to attract players who otherwise avoid the current iteration of Trials entirely because of the perceived high skills nature. Now, they also want to update Dominion to be more in line with the modern sandbox. So as an example, they go on to say we're experimenting with making the zone appear later in each round and in increasing the time it takes to capture the zone, among other potential changes. Stay tuned. That's just a sneak peek. They'll have a more detailed, shall I say, twid in the future regarding the specifics. But that's what they're willing to share for the moment.
Yeah, and that is for not this episode, not Revenant, but the following one. That they're going to make these changes. Now, one thing I heard here, Sweaty, that really caught my attention, and this is maybe for my Iron Banner fellow players out there, is they're making it more of a, I hate to say the casual. I hate to say that word casual because this is high-end PvP, right? But they're making it more approachable, let's say, for getting loot.
Streamlined to those who otherwise wouldn't play.
I like this. Dude, I remember Destiny 1. If you didn't have just a stack, 3-stack, of really, really good players, like 1%ers, you would not last in Trials at all. And there was no solo queuing. You had to have a team of 3. So you drag 2 other players with you that don't really play a lot of Trials, but you want to play Trials. There was no team-based matchmaking. There was no find a fire team back then. You had to go to third-party sites, and everyone would look at your ELO score in Trials, and if it wasn't at a certain level, they would just pass you up. It was so frustrating for someone trying to get into Trials in Destiny 1. This is what I'm saying. Destiny 2 and Bungie has to innovate in this area to get more people to play it. I think if they need to do this probably in raids as well, but that's another issue. We can talk about that another time, but I like that they're saying it's going to be more like Iron Banner, because Iron Banner to me is competitive, but it's open to everybody, right? So I like that. I wanted to mention that because when I saw them say that, that perked my ears up a little bit. So it gets me excited, So let's see.
Definitely.
Anything else you mentioned?
Just a little side note for chat here. If you happen to be hanging out in the YouTube chat and you appreciate the conversations that you're hearing, why don't you do our good friend Todd the Gator a favor here and just click that like button down below. That'll not only help his channel, but contribute to him pursuing his goal of continuing to provide this type of content.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate
for
that.
This message. And
if you haven't subbed already, give me a subscribe. Give me a sub. Be nice. Yeah, you'll get updates whenever I go live with the show. The Guardian Downcast does go live on this channel. And like I said, I'm always releasing new videos out as well. So shameless plug. There we go. Got it out of the way.
100%.
Okay, let's finish.
Sandbox, is it?
Yep. Yep. On the Sandbox, they're doing some skill and rank changes. Do you want to read any of this? I know with Iron Banner, I've got to read Iron Banner because, I love Iron Banner. They say they're planning to offer a more relaxed variant of Iron Banner with minimal matchmaking and stratification and a focus on the less serious game modes like Fortress, Eruption, and improved version of Tribute. Man, Eruption was so frustrating last weekend. It would punish you if you got a kill streak, and you'd have to run around and play crazy to try to find somebody, and you end up just blowing up. But they want to improve the Iron Banner experience, especially for the casual and mixed skill fire teams. That is very good news, because one thing when we put a fire team of 6 together, the skill levels are all over the place, and I like the fact that they're addressing this. They're going to better sort the fire teams based on skill variants present within them, so we can more effectively differentiate between an actual highly skilled stacked fire team, pub stompers, and casual mixed group of friends, of clanmates, or clanmates playing together. That's exactly what we do. We don't put sweaty teams together. No offense, SweatySpookz. And we put casual fire teams together with people from all different levels of skill. And that is something I like hearing, that they're at least addressing this. They're rewarding fire teams better in general to incentivize grouping up like we've done in Trials. So I just want to mention that with Iron Banner. Let's see. Skill and rank changes.
They're basically just talking about making some improvements to Collision's gameplay.
Yeah.
Making it so contesting zone flips it neutral, so neither team gains points if both teams are inside it,
right,
etc. There's a couple of other details, but that's pretty
tweaks.
much it. Yeah. Artist of the week.
Oh, no. Player support report.
Broken.
Hey, you beat me to it. Sweaty, what's up with player support report?
Player support report. New Fire Team Finder categories for Encore with update 8.0.5.5. We've added some activity-specific titles to Fire Team Finder for Exotic Mission Encore. These options should help players better communicate their goals to potential Fire Team members. For example, Epilogue runs on expert difficulty can now make use of a speedrun category to help players looking to obtain a specific triumph or emblem. Here's a full list of the categories added. So Overture, Concerto, Coda, Let's Do Secrets, Exotic Catalysts, looking for collectibles, mining nodes. Oh, okay, now I understand. So full list of categories for the triumph and emblems being Overture, Concerto, Coda. Yep. Yeah, so the things you have to do is Let's Do Secrets, Exotic Catalysts, looking for collectibles, mining nodes, etc. Okay, now I understand. Yep. And Encore, Epilogue, Expert only. All the above included are the modifiers and speedrun as well.
Dude, you had me at shit was broken. You didn't have to mention all that. We don't do that on this show, but thank you for doing that for our live audience.
Si, senor.
We got Artist of the Week here. Well, that is really pretty. That's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Movie of the Week, celebrating 10 years. There's that.
Oh, look, it's live, and it says Todd the Gator, and it's this particular stream. Look at that.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Nice try. That's everything we have for this week. We'll be back next week with a lot more details on Revenant, so you have to have the best understanding of what's to come, including one article on Wednesday focused on the artifact. Until then, prepare yourself, gather your materials, go farm your glimmer, and finish those challenges and triumphs you may have left. We're almost there. Destiny 2 community team. Thank you, Destiny 2 community team. You guys probably don't get enough praise that you're still out there communicating with us every week. And I
love seeing that Dylan's back.
I can't say it enough. You guys communicate with us every week, and I really, really appreciate that. So, yeah. All right.
And thank you for coming back, DMG. I hope your trip to Japan was good.
Absolutely.
It's nice to see you, and not only back with the community, but just doing well for yourself.
Right.
So welcome back to the community. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Listen to the Guardian Downcast. Oh, it's a playlist. Yes. Oh, and I've heard they've won awards for it and such.
Let's get into some music. Let's add some music to our Guardian Downcast show playlist, which is on Spotify and Apple. The links are down in our description. Yeah, it's kind of a time capsule. Every guest we've ever had on our show adds a song, and we add it to this enormous playlist. And, I think we have 1,217 songs. It's a huge playlist since July of 2019 when we started this. So yeah, I'll start with you, Sweaty. What are you going to add tonight, man? What music you adding?
I am going to add a song called Marathon by a gentleman from New York calls himself Marlon Craft. Craft is spelled as you would expect with a C.
Okay.
MarlonCraft. Song released in 2023. Okay. It's a hip hop song, and I also added it to the PTP playlist as well because I had a feeling that if it just came on randomly, I think that this is a song that Fluffy would like, and maybe even Rob. It's interesting having a hip hop suggestion come from me because I am a metal dude. I play guitar. I've been playing since I was 11. I'm 32 now. You do the math.
Right.
So metal is my bread and butter, but this is genuine music and it's a chill vibe. And I don't know, it has some good lyrics to it. So that's Marathon by Marlon Craft.
If you don't mind, throw that link in our chat that way.
Not
in the YouTube chat, but in our Discord, and I'll make sure I add it.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I got you.
I actually chose some new music tonight. Well, it's fairly new. It came out in 2024. It's a musical duo from Columbus, Ohio. They're originally in a full band in 2009, but they left in 2011. Since then, they won Grammy for Best Pop Duo Performance in 2016. The song is from their brand new album called Clancy, and the song I chose tonight is really good. It's called Routines in the Night. It's 21 Pilots. I love this group, man.
21 Pilots is good.
For a duo, they mix rap in with it, some of their songs too. Just a good groove, man. It's just a good groove, and I love listening to all kinds of new stuff. So, yeah, check that one out.
Call the Praxic Order, call the Thanatonauts, the Jinsen Scribes, call everyone so they can witness you.
All right, this segment is called the Speed Run. It's where we have a database of over 800 possible questions for our guest. And Mr. SweatySpookz here will have 2 minutes to answer as many as he can. These are short 1 or 2 word answers. And at the end of the year, the guest with the most answer will win a prize and title of 2024 Speedrun Champion. The questions are custom curated by me, so no one can memorize the order and just quickly answer what comes to mind. Tonight, I'm going to read out the questions from my list, and my digital assistant here will help me with the timer. Deadpool 1 Merc is still our current leader with 50 questions answered. So what do you think?
Congratulations. Probably good. That person right there is probably going to be the winner at the end of the year.
We'll see. We still got some year left.
Shaming my own co-host from the Blueberry Lounge, Native Raider.
I'm pretty sure he got 40 or 41. Let's just say he got 41. That'll give you a goal.
Pretty good score, man.
He did pretty good. He wanted to do the speed run. So I said, okay, we'll do the speed run. All right. You ready? SweatySpookz.
I'm ready.
Here we go. I'll start the clock on your first answer. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Warlock, Titan, or Hunter?
Hunter.
Cold pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Void, solar, arc, or stasis, or strand?
Solar.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Kelowna, BC.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Controller or mouse and keyboard?
M&K.
Hand cannon or auto rifle?
Hand cannon.
Strikes, Crucible, or Gambit?
Crucible.
Are you an AMC Stubbs member?
No.
Do you like pickles?
Yes.
If you could choose, who would voice your ghost?
Ryan Reynolds.
McDonald's or Burger King?
BK.
Human, awoken, or exo?
Exo.
Water balloon fight or food fight?
Food.
Is Scum Death your uncle?
Absolutely.
What's your favorite Destiny planet?
IO?
Snuggle or cuddle?
Cuddle.
Zavala, Cade, or Drifter?
Cade.
Have you ever been to the lighthouse?
Yes.
What's the best sandwich?
Ham.
What armor slot do you use as an exotic?
My cloak.
Pineapple on pizza?
No.
Ikora, Cade, or Zavala?
Cade.
Red Vines or Twizzlers?
Twizzlers.
What number am I thinking of?
7.
No. Holidays, yes or no?
Yes.
What's your favorite word?
F.
Destiny 2 seasonal events, yes or no?
Yes.
What's one thing you own that needs to be thrown out?
The garbage.
What's the worst job you've ever had?
Busboy.
Cake or pie?
Pie.
Do you have a tattoo?
Many.
Fries or onion rings?
Onion rings.
Favorite drink?
Pepsi.
Oatmeal on bagels?
No.
Solo or fire team?
Fire team.
Gas, electric, or diesel?
Gas.
Can you drive a stick shift?
Yes.
Xbox, PC, or PlayStation?
PC.
Do aliens exist?
Nope.
Favorite music genre?
Metal.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Dogs or cats?
Cats.
Mario or Sonic?
Mario.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Destiny 1 or Destiny 2?
2.
Raids or dungeons?
Dungeons.
Fashion or function?
Function.
Precision or sprayer play?
Precision.
Soup or sandwich?
Sandwich.
That was 50. So you tied. You tied. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you guys are here to witness it. Fair and square.
Yes.
Fair and square. I can't believe you hit 50 tonight.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
double checking that, but it looks like Deadpool 1 Merc, you'll be sharing that with Mr. SweatySpookz here. And you did it live. I mean, there's no editing of this.
Nope.
I mean, there's no editing anyway, but what I'm saying is yeah, you guys hear it live. It's different. God, I can't believe you did 50, man.
What was that? Tied for the top?
You're tied for the top for the year.
Holy shit.
Deadpool 1 Merc had 50.
I just pulled a Sin Media.
So you guys are tied. You know what I might do? If you guys continue to be tied at the end, I might bring you guys back for a playoff.
Oh.
How's that sound?
Double dog.
We'll do it live.
Face down.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Hell yeah.
It's all right. I already got past the 30 seconds. All right. Dude, that was fun. That's fun.
Def.
Damn, I can't believe you got 50.
Kick
Man, it's
that,
different when
Native
it's
Raider.
live. It's different when it's live. Yeah, you beat Native. Sorry, Native. Sweaty smoked you, man.
I waited 2 years for this.
You could
I've
see.
been practicing.
I gave you an extra one because I did bumble. One question. That was fair. Man, you know another thing too. Since we're talking on YouTube here, I don't think there's much of a delay versus Discord, so maybe there's a slight advantage there. But hey, everyone was here. Everyone was here to witness it. So 50 questions answered.
That's right.
Congrats, SweatySpookz. Good job, man.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
I wasn't expecting that number, honestly. That's awesome.
Oh my God, I can't believe you got 50. Unbelievable. Hey, a little housekeeping here before we go. I wanted to give a shout out to our member of the week. Shout out to our Discord community member of the week. He has been a member for over a year now. He's one of our members that is always jumping in to say hi and welcome to new members of the Discord community. A big thanks to Tajo Trade. Thanks for hanging out with us, bud, and congrats on being the member of the week. You'll have a new role assigned to you on Monday. Special thanks to all of our patrons of the show. Patrons like our fist bump patron, Birdman. Thank you very much. Also to our Dungeon Champion patrons. That's Technical, Raffi, Deadpool 1 Merc. Special shout out to our Raid Boss patrons, Jealous, Frostbite, Amazing Taco King, and Nico, aka Jersey. Thank you all for giving back to the show and supporting a listener-supported podcast like this one. So some final thoughts to wrap up the show this week. The next new dungeon, Vespers Host, which will have a dungeon race for the first 48 hours. And once the first 3 teams cross the finish line, everyone can play either the normal or contest mode version. How many of you are going to try the contest mode? What do y'all think of contest mode on dungeons? Let me know. We also learned of new combatant modifiers in Codename Frontiers, such as Banes, like Meteor and Shock. Other modifiers like Berserk, Punchable, and Nuclear were also mentioned in the show, with accompanying videos to demonstrate them if you catch the live stream. Will this make PvE content from the new Build Your Own PvE Encounter portal create new replayable content, or will it fall short? Let me know. I want to hear it. In the Frontiers second dev insight post, they mentioned that at the first expansion of the year, there'll be a brand new raid and a new dungeon in the second half of the year and the second expansion. It seems like this is a lot less as far as dungeons and raids for the year. Will this be enough for you to be excited in Destiny 2? Finally, in this week in Destiny, there was a developer live stream on October 1st at Reset. That's tomorrow if you're listening to this podcast now at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's the time it is for us East Coasters, for making about the Episode 2 Revenant. I'll be watching it. Will you guys? Also, are you excited about the second episode? I know I am. I'm kind of over Episode 1 Echoes by now. The PvP Strike Team talked about the nerfs and buffs coming to certain weapons in the Crucible in Episode 2 Revenant, which arrives on October 8th. Just a week away. The highlights for me was a buff to the heavy burst pulse rifles and increasing the rate of fire to 320. That's really going to be fun to try that out for me on day one. They're also nerfing adaptive hand cannons, adaptive auto rifles, and high impact pulse rifles, while buffing adaptive submachine guns, precision and high impact auto rifles, precision and heavy burst hand cannons, heavy burst pulse rifles, and aggressive scout rifles. What do you look forward to using in the first part of the next episode? Let me know what guns you'll be trying out on day one. You can go to show feedback channel in our Discord, which is discord.gg/GuardianDownCast. Shoot me an email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com, or you can send me a voicemail with your feedback at guardiandowncast.com and just hit the send voicemail button. It's super easy. You can do it from your phone. All kinds of ways to talk to me, so I really want to hear your feedback. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation with Elmer Fudd and RNG Gator last week on my first live show of Guardian Downcast. We got a lot of good feedback in our Discord channel. It's Todd the Gator, 2Ds GATR on my YouTube channel if you want to catch the replay of our live show and tonight's live show. You can do the same. Well, that's a wrap. Another episode in our collection. For our new listeners out there, we have 270 other episodes with interviews from gamers all over our community. So take a look at those, especially if you're just finding out about us. Check back next week as I have a brand new guest on Guardian Downcast. We'll have an area in the Discord where you can send questions to our new guest. I'll reveal that on Reset this week coming up. A special thanks to my fellow podcaster, SweatySpookz. You can find him in our Discord or at other Discords among the Owl Sector Alliance of podcast communities out there. Check out his podcast, The Blueberry Lounge. You can find him everywhere as SweatySpookz, and that is with a Z. I'll post the links in our show notes down below. Oh, and we had a voicemail from our lawyer Laz, our space lawyer Laz. So, Laz, what's going on, buddy? Haven't heard from you in a while. So, you got golf elbow or something? What's going on, buddy?
I get 3 minutes today. Look at that. You haven't heard from your lawyer in a while. You know, it's been summer break. And then, my children's started up school, so I've been a bit preoccupied. And nobody's really sent me any lawsuits, which is great to know. Great to hear. I only have one really on the docket right now, and that is the lawsuit that Danger Powers would like to bring against rabbits. Don't know why. It could be Earth rabbits, it could be space rabbits. I'm not entirely sure. There is a distinct difference because there's a lot of different species of space rabbits. There's Martian rabbits, there's Jupiter rabbits, there's rabbits from Uranus, there's rabbits from all over. So you got to be a little more specific on that, bud. At this present time, we're beginning to change seasons. So I expect to see a lot more lawsuits coming against Mother Nature because I know you guys and gals hate the seasons skipping around like that. But in the meantime, continue to find me in Discords. I respond to pings. Don't worry. I do still exist to some extent. Agnes Edna makes me aware of the various pings. So just keep pinging away. Send me your lawsuits. I will have responses to them. Don't worry. I actually do lawyer stuff. And otherwise, enjoy this Friday that I'm recording this on. Enjoy the weekend. Unless you work on the weekend, in which case, oops daisies.
Glad to have you back, Laz. Remember, everyone, as you're playing Final Shape, well, going to be episode 2, Revenant, very, very soon. Take breaks, get outside, and touch some grass. Gelano23. Hey, everyone, remember, we're Guardian Downcast, your stories, your community, your destiny. And be good to your fellow Guardians in the Destinyverse.
The weight of the world was on your shoulders, and still you triumphed. Marvelous.
Thank you all so very much for listening. And later, Guardian. First thing we want to talk about here is the New Frontiers blog. Now, the way Destiny has it here is they have this one thing in the Bungie.net, and I'll show you here. It is it says Codename Frontiers, and what they do is every week they just keep adding they just keep adding stuff to the, right here. They just keep adding stuff to the blog every week. And the 2 things they added was raids and dungeons this week and combatant modifiers. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And we're just going to go down the list here. We're going to highlight a few things, and then me and Sweaty will talk them over and see what you guys think.
Cool, man. I haven't read ahead of any of this, so this will all be fresh takes. Let's do it.
All right. Can you guys still hear Sweaty?
Sweaty, sweaty, sin for mod.
One of my inputs just disappeared.
It's the Sin Media for Mod campaign, brought to you in part by the Owl Sector Alliance. Because what gaming community isn't together without the Owl Sector Alliance? One that's worth it, that is.
What happened? I just lost your input. All right. Pause, please. That is so weird. I don't know how it just disappeared. It's so weird.